Hi folks, I've got some of my Olights on the desk in front of us, starting from a little lowly i3 all the way up. A couple of the Javlots tucked in it there, about the M2 Marauder, the X9. I had a moment of insanity and thought, you know what, I'll take all these out and I'll do beam shots for the lot. And then I thought about it and thought, no, I'll be out all night. Plus, to be honest, if somebody was considering buying an i3, they probably wouldn't be considering a Marauder 2, would they? So I didn't think there'd be much useful benefit to, you know, try and do the whole range, as well as it being, as I mentioned, a moment of insanity for myself. But perhaps this is a little bit more manageable. If I pick those 5, so we've got the Seeker 2. This one's the Pro version, very similar to the normal. The M2r Pro, the Freyr perhaps, the Warrior X. The Warrior X Turbo. If you were looking at any one of these lights, you might have the other 4 in mind, mightn't you? So I'm going to take out these 5. I'm not going to try and review them and go on about run times and you know, stuff like that. You can look that up in the manual yourself, no offence. Plus it'll just take me far too long and I won't be able to do any of them justice. But the one thing that you can't do in the manual is have a look at the beam profile. And in particular, you can't look at the beam profile in comparison to, you know, how does the Seeker 2 Pro beam-wise work in comparison to the M2r Warrior Pro? Well, I shall take them all out. I'll show you all 5 in a couple of different places. So I'll catch you up when I'm outside. Hi folks, so I'm out with my 5 Olights. First up is the Seeker 2 Pro on high. Let me just overlay a picture now so you can see where I am in daylight, so to speak, and then scroll through our modes: low, medium and high. Pause a little bit on medium, quick look around, high, and then turbo. A very, very floody type beam with no real discernible hotspot on there, is there? Let's have a look at our next light. The M2r Pro. A very discernible round hotspot, not a massive amount of peripheral spill, but that huge spot thing there in the middle. Let me scroll through our powers. That's our highest non-turbo mode. And then turbo. A very pronounced hotspot come blob thing. Completely different than the Seeker 2. Okay, let's have a look at our next one. This will be the Freyr. The Freyr on its lowest mode. There's two modes on the Freyr, low and high. That's our lowest mode, and then our highest. Notice the slightly square peripheral spill. Okay, not quite sure I will describe that beam. Balanced, come a little bit throwy perhaps. Okay, let's try our next up. This is our Warrior X. Again, 2 power modes similar to the Freyr. And then turbo. Okay, not sure how to describe that one either. Much more leaning towards the throwy type beam, aren't we? In particular, as we scroll into that distance there, we're kind of cutting down towards the end of that path. No problem. And then back out again. And last but not least, folks, is the Warrior X turbo on its lowest mode. As you can see there, some reasonable peripheral spill, but everything's in that central spot. And then you go up to turbo, and it's amazingly concentrated beam, nothing like any of the others. And scroll down towards the end of that path. I'll right the camera up in a second. Scroll to the end of that path there. Absolutely no problem on the distance. And still plenty of peripheral light. So that's the 5 Olights, one after the other. I'll take them now to a slightly different spot and show you the same again. Hi folks, I've got the M2r Pro now. Let me add a picture of where I am. 100 meters. I will cycle through our power modes. And there's our high at 100 meters. Still doing it okay. But as I start to move down this lake, that's perhaps when that floody beam starts to lose out a touch perhaps. And then turbo. Back up again to 100 meters. Very, very floody beam. Okay, let me go on next one, which is going to be the M2r Pro. Make sure I'm on the right setting. M2r Pro starting off high, again 100 meters. I'll just add the picture in again so you can see. And that pronounced blob beam, if I'm describing that correctly. If I'm not, I apologise. 100 meters. As I move down the side of this lake, the same as I did with the Seeker, you'll see it doing that distance pretty easily. And then our turbo mode. Same distance, 100 meters. And again down the side of that lake. It's probably worth noting as well, the M2r Pro and the M2r Pro have those multiple power levels, which I'm scrolling through now as we speak. That's our high, and then turbo. Okay, lets me root around with my pocket and find mine next, which is going to be the Freyr. Again, 100 meters. Let me put the picture in to show you where I am. We've got our two settings there, low and high, nothing in between. And move down the side of this lake. Very kind of balanced come throughy beam there, isn't it? Oh dear, I don't know what's going on with those ducks. I think they're having a scrap, them pair are, over something. 100 meters on the Freyr. Let me swap over. Apologies folks, I'm trying to do this in the dark of course, and not have any of them come on in my pocket. Warrior X Pro, 100 meters, similar to the Freyr. We've only got that and our highest mode, turbo if you like. So let me just overlay a picture of where I am. And moving down the side of this lake. I think this one's got probably the pinch on the throwy type of it. That's 200 meters out to the edge of that lake. Then you can see those ducks. And then back up again. Over 100 meters. And last but not least, $100 meters on low, a Warrior X Turbo. I'm going to have to zoom in now and just kind of show you this, how concentrated that beam is even on its low. You can see it's making that distance pretty easily. And then turbo. Let me overlay a picture of where we are. And again I'll zoom in so you can... That's really what the Warrior's for, to be honest. That absolutely smashing that distance. That's only 100 meters. And as we move down the side of this lake, I mean it's like a laser beam, that, isn't it? Into that far corner there. In fact, let me see if I can properly zoom in. Bear with me. I'm going to zoom in and then there we go. That's in excess of 200 meters now. So a very, very concentrated throwy type beam. Moving back up to those two trees. And in fact, let me get the which pocket did I put it in? We're looking at these two lights here. So on the right hand side we've got our M2r Pro, and on the left there we've got our Warrior X Turbo. I mean, these two are just at completely opposite ends of the scale, aren't they, with that, you know, immense laser beam type pattern there versus our out and out floody. And the choice between either of these two lights should be pretty obvious based on those two beam profiles, shouldn't they? I think the other three were kind of sitting somewhere perhaps in the middle, but certainly not as extreme as either of those two. Okay folks, I hope that's helped you decide which one of those 5 Olights to purchase based on the beam profile. But do read the manual and figure out your turbo run times, and in particular whether the steppings of power, you know, a couple of them I mentioned there had a sort of a low and a high and nothing in between, whereas, you know, for example, the M2r Pro has got a little bit more flexibility in terms of your power outputs. Okay folks, thank you very much.